Now, first alert weather with K. McFerrin.
All right, and good afternoon, well, morning to you. It's 11:14 as of the time of this recording, but by the time you see this video, it may be the afternoon. So I just wanted to note that and get that out there. My name's Cody McFerrin, and right now we're taking a live look at Dexter across our camera network that we have. And you can see it's gotten cloudy out there. It was sunny to start the day, but now we've got some clouds moving in, and we're going to talk about that plus tonight's weather too, because it's going to get dicey tonight. So let's talk about it right now. Currently across the area, the majority of the area is starting to see clouds. You can see the clouds on this map here filtering in across the majority of southern Illinois. Things are dry here, however, and if I pop on the temperatures, you'll be able to see currently that we've got temperatures in the mid 40s and some low 40s to the south, but this activity out to the west, way out in Oklahoma and Texas, is what we're watching for later this evening, and it's going to get dicey around here for sure. So what I want to talk about first is what type of impacts we can see from this. This is going to be a big event, lots to cover. This graphic was created earlier this morning, but you can see a 3 out of a 5 impact for snow. 4 to 6 inches is what I've got on here. Some areas could see more than that, and even when I show you the snow totals map here in a minute, understand that just because it says one particular number, it may even be higher than that in certain areas due to heavier snow bands setting up, which we'll talk about here in a minute on Futurecast. Glaze and ice will definitely be an issue, I think, with the rain, because we're going to have some pretty heavy rain starting out, and that's going to create a lot of ponding on elevated surfaces like roadways, the grass. It's going to be very wet, and that can freeze over if we can get that temperature cold enough quickly. We'll talk about that as well. Wind gust, it's going to be very gusty tonight and into tomorrow, and power outages look like they could be a threat as well. So we want you to stay prepared, and we want you to have a way to receive warnings. And you can find more information about that scrolling at the bottom of your screen. Let's get into the activity real quick. Give me just a second, because this is going to kind of start on its own. Here we go. Here's Futurecast starting out today. We're going to be mainly dry through the afternoon. This model here has it running some rain in a lot earlier than we just predicted earlier. By 3 p.m. you can see the rain is already moving across the Mississippi River, so timing is going to be a key thing. The ticker at the bottom of your screen says 6, or I'm sorry, generally about 8 or so through the morning into 7 a.m. But again, we're going to talk about that. So here we are at 3. Rain starts to move in. When the rain does move in, which we'll be watching on First Alert Doppler Network, we're going to have some light rain at times, but watch what's out to the west. You see that heavy activity? That will start us out as some very heavy rain, and then it's going to quickly transition over to snow. If you notice on Futurecast here, you see that blue color, and then you see the very dark and bright red. That's where the transition zone is trying to occur, and the cold air is actually, the rain is going to help the atmosphere cool down rather quickly, and you can see this being depicted on Futurecast as we continue. Here's 9 o'clock, the snow continuing by that point. Very heavy bands of snow will be likely by this time. Travel is not advisable during this situation because the snow rates could be over or at about 1 inch an hour, and if you've ever been outside when it's snowing at 1 inch an hour, visibilities are very, very low. It's kind of similar to whiteout conditions, and some of these heavy bands will definitely produce that. The more heavy snow we get in some areas is also going to determine snow totals as well, so they may not be exactly to the amount you're going to see here in a minute on our snow totals map. Here's 11 o'clock. The heavy snow continues. We'll be watching for a transition to occur early in the morning hours. You can see the snow still continuing the freezing line down to our south and east near the Ohio River. That continues to push towards us later in the morning hours. We'll talk about that in a moment. More heavy snow bands continue, and then we watch a break off to our south and west, which may move in, and due to some atmospheric changes, it would temporarily shift that over to probably a mix between some freezing rain, some sleet at that time, and snow, and we'll be watching for areas that may even transition over to rain. Now, we're going to continue. That's not the end of Futurecast. Here we are at 3 a.m. on this model. Here, give me just a second to pull that up so you can see it. There we go. So here's 3 a.m. We're still continuing. You can see on Futurecast that mix we were talking about. And as that progresses, it's going to shift back over to some snow. And heavy snow would still be likely then. And right now, this particular model that we've got here is on an older time frame here. So the snow may be over a little bit quicker than what you're seeing here on Futurecast at the top of the banner. But just know, very heavy snow will still be likely through the morning hours, especially as you're trying to get up. Maybe you're planning to go to school or work. Hopefully they will call off school, and I think that this will be a pretty big impact event, but we'll talk about that more in detail in just a second. The snow continues. Finally, hopefully some relief in sight. I think by 8 or 9 o'clock we'll be in the safe zone, but the latest high-resolution model guidance that we have is suggesting that this may be over by about 7 or 8 o'clock. So just note that, and that's kind of what this Futurecast model is predicting. As we get towards 9 o'clock, some wraparound snow bands will certainly be possible. We're going to dry out and warm up, but before that happens, some snow is still likely in the form of some snow flurries and showers throughout the late morning and into the early afternoon. All right, let's talk snow totals. Everybody wants to know about that. Let's talk about how much snow you can see. Do not take these numbers to the bank, because if you do, I'm afraid you're going to be a little disappointed. Marion, right now, I've got you at 5.2 inches based on this particular model. This is the high-res run as of this hour. 6.6 inches for Carbondale. We're going to zoom in and talk about that in just a minute. That's accounting for that heavier snow band that would be setting up much quicker in the transition zone tonight from the rain to the snow, of course. 4 inches for Harrisburg there based off of this particular run, as I just said. As we zoom on into southern Illinois, here's a much more zoomed in, more confined look at these totals, ranging from anywhere from 6 inches on the west side of the county to probably 4.5 to 4 inches on the eastern side of Williamson County. Jackson County, I think they're going to see a lot more snow than Williamson County in as far as totals, because some areas could see up to 7 inches of snow, maybe even 8 if those bands set up heavy enough as well. Let's take a trip on down south and talk about those totals as well. For those of you in the southern parts of southern Illinois, Goreville, 5.3 inches, so 4.1 for Simpson in those ridge areas down there in our low valleys, especially and in the hilly areas. That's going to make a big difference in those totals as well due to some atmospheric changes. They may actually get colder quicker, so that may help them out in that respect. 6.4 inches for Cobden based on that, and there's that 7.6 number over on the far left, just to the northwest of Cobden, as you can see. Again, these are just estimated numbers based on what we see right now. This is very subject to change. All right, we're going to take a look. We've already taken a look at that. So one more time, I'm going to talk about the impacts again. So that snow is definitely going to be on our list of issues. Understand that, but we're going to have to watch how quickly the rain changes over into snow, and also how much rain is already on the ground, because as soon as it gets below freezing, things are going to start to freeze rather quickly, and unfortunately, because of the rain that we're going to have, that's going to limit the road crew's ability to put the salt down and help to pre-treat. The only thing that's probably going to work, if at all, would be the anti-icing agent. It's a liquid agent that they use, and it's called monosodium chloride. You don't really need to know that. You just need to know that it's an anti-icing agent. So that's really probably their only thing that's going to work. So they'll have to be out continually plowing the snow that's already there, and hopefully they can get some of that ice cleared as well. So please, travel is not advisable, and we'll be posting more information as we get school closings and updates as well. I'm Cody McFerrin in the First Alert Weather Center. That's your forecast at 11 a.m. Again, in the First Alert Weather Center, my name's Cody McFerrin.